So welcome. What we're going to do right now is I've got my BIGTREETECH TFT 35 E3 display that I'm going to insert into my older Creality. Actually, it's not a Creality. It was marketed under the name Aichi. I can't even pronounce it. AICHY, but having taken it apart 5 or 6 years after I bought it, I now realize that almost everything inside this 3D printer is Creality. And what I took out of here, this is a little off topic because right now we're going to install a display, but this is a Creality V2.1 board, really old board, and uses 2 cables for the old display, and we'll get to that at some other time. But anyway, it's very similar to a Creality, and my Creality, my printer is a 500 by 500. It's a 10S-5. So what I'm doing is doing some upgrades. I want to bring it up to date. I want to put a BL touch in and some other things. But right now we're doing the display. And what I have here are a couple of blocks I'm going to use behind here to thread some screws in. You'll see that later. A face plate is 3D printed, and I'll give a link to the files on Thingiverse. And this is the housing assembly that will hold it away from the panel. Now, you see here right now, I have 2 cables attached. This is, what they say you need to do a Creality upgrade. And so I'm using, what is this, EXP3 and the RS232. That's what I need to get to my new BigTree ESP32 processing board, which is also, let me see, what's it called? An SKR Mini E3 version 3. I've already put that board in there. I'm probably going to have another video to do that, but that's not what this video is about. This video is entirely about getting this display attached to this enclosure. Well, it won't be an enclosure with this display, but the reason I did this is okay, is because I wanted access to the SD and the USB. I don't know actually if I'm going to need them, but I wanted access to them. And once this board is compatible with this enclosure, but you have to mount it inside and from behind. And actually the opening here, well, it's just a little smaller, but the opening's okay. But what used to be here, and I've taken them out, are these riv nuts or whatever you want to call them, standoffs on the inside of this thing, and they would have the board would have been attached from behind inside the enclosure, but that would have not allowed for access to these 2 ports, the SD and the USB. So I designed this in Fusion 360, this adapter. It's PETG, PETG, and a little faceplate for it. And so the way this works is that the board, after feeding the cables through, the board is recessed into this enclosure. It's flat on the top here. And there are 4 screw holes. I don't know if that's going to show up in the camera. 1, 2, 3, 4. They made up with these 4 holes. Okay. And after it's mounted to this, the faceplate goes on, thusly. And that's about the gist of it. So what I had to do here, and you might have to do it too if you've got a Creality 10, is to notch out a little piece here to clear this connector. Otherwise the connector hits. So what you're going to do is feed your cables in like this. Not like this exactly, but you know, you get the idea. And this is going to go on. It's going to get screwed on using these as a backer plate off from the inside, and then the front panel will go on like that. Now the screws I used, because there's not much room, I used 256. These are cap screws, 256 by 1 inch. You could probably get away with 3/4. I don't have any 3/4. This is all I have is 1 inch. But they will go in the 4 holes here. 1, 2, 3. And by the way, if you print this, you're going to have to open these holes up a little bit. Okay, 3 and 4. Thusly. Okay. Okay, so there's, you know, there are 4 screws poking out of the back of this thing. The way this thing works, I don't know if you can get a close-up of this. You can see there's, I marked it with a marker pen here, the marker pen. These are where the screws are going to go. These were tapped for 256, okay? So they will accept the screw. So there's 2 of them, 1 for each side, and they will fit in the holes here. Well, let me back up. Before you do any of this, from the inside of the case, now I had everything out of the case. I never took the power supply out. Well, I did take the power supply out. I just flipped it over, okay? I left the board in there because I was going to replace the board anyway. And what I did was these standoffs, rib nuts, whatever you want to call them, from the inside, I got a pair of vice grips onto them and I twisted a little bit and I just rocked them back and forth. And that will break them out of here. So you don't have to drill any holes. You've got 4 holes already here. And they made up with the housing, the 3D housing and the board. The board is made, you know, was made to fit these holes when they had standoffs on them. So you got to remove them from the inside of the enclosure, okay? And these attach thusly from the inside. They're a little bit of a pressure fit there, or interference fit, like that, okay? And you know, instead of dealing with like, you know, 4 little plastic nuts or whatever from the inside, that's why I designed that. A little easier to deal with it that way. You can't have anything going across the top because you need this cutout. You need clearance. By the way, you need to cut this for any connectors that you are using if you happen to be doing this mod on some other printer other than the CR10S. So that's the way it's going to work. The 4 screws will screw into this. And I didn't do a dry run on this, but hopefully I can do this. My first thought was to epoxy these in there to get them to stay, but I might have to well, let's see if I can make it work without doing that. So what we want to do, just get these cables in there. We don't care where they go, we just want to get them in there. And from the bottom, you're seeing my first try at this. I don't know if this is going to work. It'll work out myself. But if I can get a screw started in each one of these without the thing popping out the back, then we're good to go. Cool. That's in. Let's see if we can get another one in. Get lined up. Cool. I got two of them in. Okay. I'm going to hold the other block with my finger on the inside. Let's see if I can't get these lined up. Screw it in. I don't know. Yep, got that one. Okay, got them all. It wasn't too hard. Let's get them screwed down here. Flatten out. Where's the screw? Lighting's kind of bad in here right now. Late at night. Yeah, you could definitely do it with the 3/4. I feel the screw coming out the other side of the adapter block, screw block, whatever you want to call it, but I feel the screw coming through. So, it's hard for me to see what the hell I'm doing. Everything is black here. All right, there we go. That's one in. You don't have to cinch these things down, like a crazy man, because this thing's not going to go anywhere and it's just plastic. Okay. I don't know who designs these things. Well, one of my little pet peeves or rants, but the smaller the Allen, the smaller the handle they make, and it makes it really hard to turn. I mean, why don't they just put a bigger handle on it? I'm sure that they're thinking they're going to save you from stripping screws out if it's too big. You get more torque, but it's a pain in the ass. Okie dokie. So it's mounted. Got the two cables coming out the bottom here. To plug them in, I'll have to take the power supply out again. So I still haven't taken the plastic covering, the protective plastic off the screen. And we're going to do that now. And this goes like this. Okay, the bezel. There's a reset button here. I put a hole in there for the reset button. And of course I have a knob for this. But that's how it's going to go. And of course I forgot to get the screws for this. So I can't show you screwing this in, but if you can't figure that out, you shouldn't be doing this to start with. But there's like 1, 2, 3, 5, 4, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 screws. I was a little worried about this not sitting flat on here. So I guess you don't have to put 7 screws in it. 4 in the corners probably will do nicely. Now also, I don't know if this is going to show up, but you can see there's a gap. There's a gap between the top of the faceplate and the 2 connectors. Okay. I could have bridged this with I was about ready to say PLA, but PETG. I could have made a bridge here, but it made it too hard and it was sloppy and it left a lot of artifacts. And there was a lot of cleaning of the hole there when you had to actually fit it, and it also caused an awkward angle when you had to install the board. It wasn't just drop in. Now you had to fish it in through the side. So what I got here is a couple of pieces of foam, okay, black foam, and I got that off of where's the handle? I threw it away. Well, anyway, a paintbrush, okay, a foamy brush. And what we'll do is glue that to the back side of this when we have the proper depth, and that'll just cover it up thusly. Okay? Something like that. Okay? So that'll take care of that. I don't have any glue right now. The other thing I have to do here, this is mounted now. Of course, I have to put the faceplate on. I have to, for the umpteenth thousandth time, take the power supply out of here and connect the cables up. And truth be told, I'm not so sure you need to know that in this video, but I put 2 screws back in here before. I mounted the new board. I have 1 fan cable and I cannot figure out what to do with it. And I'm going to wait until I actually plug this thing in again in the garage. I believe the fan is always on. So I was short 1 fan connector on the board, the new board. So it's not like a 1-to-1 replacement. You have to kind of figure it out. Here's a new board. Everything is marked in here. This is the fan connector. It's an internal fan, by the way. Back, I got a fan on the back and a fan on the front here. Kind of blows air through this way. But that's what it is. This is going to be a little nerve-wracking, but you can see I already have one out of here. But you got to get these riv nuts out in order to install this unit. And I'm just using a pair of vice grips and twisting back and forth a little bit and rocking it, and they just break right out of there. They're riv nuts, so shouldn't be too much of a problem. The ones on the bottom, I'm probably going to have to wait until I get the fan out of here and the rest of this stuff. Okay, so there you have it. So let's just do a little recap here. You can see I got 4 screws on the on the front cover of the bezel. When you do this, you're going to have to notch out for the cable in the back in the case here. What I used was a Dremel with a cutoff wheel, And if you don't have one of those, what the hell you've been doing all your life? So anyway, that's the easiest way to notch that out. Obviously, I did that when I did not have, any stuff in the box. The power supply was leaning out, that kind of thing. So that's about it. You got to cut the notch out. Oh, for the plastic parts, I printed it in PETG. The adapter itself under this faceplate, the adapter itself should be printed 100% infill, because you are tapping screws into it. As a matter of fact, these 4 screws are in a tapped hole, okay? And the little adapters that I made for those 4 holes behind this housing, that's also printed 100% and then tapped with 256 for a 256 screw. I don't know if you can see it or not, but the filler with the foam plugs, you don't even have to glue them in there. They just stay right where they are when you push them in there. We cut them out on a scissor off a foam brush, you're going to be in business. And that's about it.